Somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley and over yonder. I want to hear somebody pray. Somebody pray. Somebody pray. Somebody pray. Somebody.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hope you're all doing very well out there. If you just give me 1 second, I got to just do a couple things to my screen to make sure I can see everything that's going on. I'm operating a little bit solo here. Rabbi Kupitz will not be with us this evening as he and Karen are celebrating their wedding anniversary this weekend, and I offered to take things on a little bit more than usual, just so they can have some special time together. But I think we will be adequately served, not only by myself, by Randy Polivoy, of course, but also giving his anniversary gift to his parents. It's, ladies and gentlemen, Eli Kupitz. Let's also wave hi to Eli. You see his picture there. Eli will be sharing the Siddur and any other materials we need tonight. And so we're going to start with Shalom Aleichem. Eli, if you want to go to the page 24. Peace be unto all of us. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkam LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkam LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkam LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch. Yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, HaKadosh Baruch. Again, extra special shout out to all of you who are joining us this evening, joining us on Facebook, joining us on YouTube, joining us on Streams. Just going to do a quick check to see that everything is going well online and that we're on there. Yes, we are. Shalom, everybody. So please feel free to use the chat to say Shabbat Shalom to each other, to offer names up when we get to our Misha Berach, to, of course, enter in those who you may be remembering as their yurtzeit is at this season. And also, if you are new or visiting or want to know more about Temple Beth Israel, please contact Judy Rose. Judy is usually in the chat on Facebook, but if she's not on the chat, you can always reach us at the Temple office, TBI at tbipomona.org, or check out our website for other ways that you connect with us. We would love to make a deeper connection with you wherever you are. We will always be virtual here on in, even as we return to more in-person engagement. To those of you who were with us last week, you'll remember our first in-person Shabbat, Erev Shabbat service in over 14 months took place last week. We do have a schedule moving forward. I think we'll be ready to release that in just a couple of days, but there will be more coming through the summer and then working towards a more fuller engagement as we approach the High Holy Days. So we're all very excited about that. So we're going to go to Bless Our Shabbat Lights, our Nerot. And you can see them. My candles are lit behind me. They're lit because I we had a family service just prior to our gathering this evening, and we light the candles with our younger community members and their families. But we'll talk about a little bit more about it later on. But this week's Torah portion, Beha'alotecha, in your lighting it up, while it doesn't talk specifically about Shabbat candles, it does talk about the value of bringing light, specifically the light that burned eternally at the entrance to the Mishkan, to the holy sanctuary that the Israelites were commanded by God to create in the desert. But I thought in light of that, as we move into Bless Our Shabbat Lights, I would offer this beautiful Debbie Friedman song. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. And Eli, if you could share page 2, please. Eli, are you able to share page 2? If not, that's
Is this not already page 2?
whatever the blessing over the Shabbat candles are. I thought that was page 2 in the CD.
This is page 2, I believe.
I'm not seeing what you're sharing, but let me try, and I see page 24. Sorry, folks, we're... Yep, I see page 24, Eli.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, that's mine. Oh. Yeah, if you're sharing the screen, oh, now you're starting to... and there it is.
You see that?
I do, thank you.
Great.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. So we'll just take one brief moment to take a nice deep breath and kind of take in all of the challenges and all of the triumphs of this past week. And then as we prepare for Shabbat, take a deep exhale and let them all go, leaving room for the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the Shabbat Malka, the Shabbat Queen, to enter our souls and become, in a way, our second soul for this next 25 hours or so. And we'll just take just a moment of silence before we move on to Lecha Dodi. So we continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi. We'll do verses 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9. And let's see if we have that available. There it is. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishme'anu el hamyuchan. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nisucha zom maaseh b'makshvat tfilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Top of the next page. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orei, kuleori, uri, uri, shir habeiri, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat mekapelah. Boi v'shalom ateret bala גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדוני לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת לקבלה. לחדוני לקראת קלה, יללה, 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 בני שבת לקבלה. יאללה, לה, 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 יאללה, לה, 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 יאללה, לה, 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 לה. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la. So we move from Lecha Dodi to Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. And just want to say a brief word about our Siddur, as we've been primarily online all of these last many months. And Rabbi has been sharing the Siddur. I hope that's been helpful and educational to you all as we move into hybrid worship, where we'll be in person and online. We're going to be experimenting with different ways to present the Siddur. One of the ways that we invite you to check out in the meantime is you can have your own Siddur, certainly in a paper, a hardbound version, but also the version that we use online is actually a Kindle version. It's available on the Amazon Kindle site for, it's the Shabbat, the Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat. And that's available for very low cost, and you don't need to have a Kindle to read it. You can read it on any computer, any tablet. It's hard to read on your phone, but yes, it's possible to read on your phone as well. So you could use your own Siddur, and we'll also be experimenting with versions of the visual tefillah. And there's also, as a third option, what they call a flip book online that is free of charge that the URJ provides. It doesn't match the Siddur exactly, gives us a little less flexibility, but we will be trying that as well. So just to kind of set up things as we move forward, and we invite you all to join in Chatzi Kaddish, page 26. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei B'chai echon u'v'yom echon U'v'chayei echol ben Yisrael Ba'gala u'v'zman kariv ve'imeru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mivarach Le'alam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha b'richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru Amen. We move from Chatzi Kaddish to Baruch Hu. If you are in a place where you could comfortably stand and choose to do so, I invite you to do so at this time. Yalla lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai. Am I awake? Am I aware? Are you listening, God, to our prayer? Can you hear our voices? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Le'olam Va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Bottom of page 28, 3 lines from the bottom, I believe. Whoops. There we go. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Imlach Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. We move closer to our profession of faith, but we first stop and just acknowledge how God's love is shown upon us through the gift of Torah. We'll do the English reading on page 31. This praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evenings flow. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set the course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. And we'll actually go to page 32 now. Last, that was actually the English translation of the Baruch Hu blessing, the Ma'ariv Aravim blessing, but this is God's Torah. Eli, could you just scroll up a hair, please? And that's great. Whoops, go. It's okay. Go. There we go. Everlasting love you have offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and on your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Atasir mimenu leolamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem geroshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. So each service, morning and evening, we are directed by our tradition to recall Litziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, and the new birth that came from that experience, the birth of a Jewish people, the birth of a unique people who saw God not as a thing or as a person or as an it, but that God was undefinable. And really, God could be found wherever we looked for it. So certainly, the words of this prayer then take on a new meaning. Who is like you, Adonai, among all of the gods that have been worshipped? Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar bakodesh nora tehilot, osei fele, malchutcha ra'uvanecha, bokeyam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, malchutcha ra'uvanecha, bokeyam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, Seili, Anu ve'ameru, Adonai imlok, le'olam va'ed, yadadai, 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 Emar Kivhad Adonai et Yaakov Ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. You know, we recite this prayer traditionally every night. Shema and Chashkivenu. Those are our chatimot, our closing rituals with which we end each day. That and a prayer for forgiveness, that we haven't harmed anyone or done anything that might have veered too far from what we've been taught by our teachers, our ancestors, by our parents. But on Shabbat, it really has a special significance because Shabbat is Yom Menucha. It's the day of rest. So especially on this day, my prayer for you, and as reflected in our text, is that something special about this evening come to you, that a special level of rest, a special level of contentment, and a special level of connection with your family, with your partners, and with our community be experienced. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, oh Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, oh Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, oh Adonai. Amen, 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 amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. What would Shabbat be if we didn't thank the Holy One for the gift of it? B'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini u'bnei Israel oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. V'yom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. V'shamru b'nei Israel et So we're now ready to enter into our Amidah, our prayer that, as it says right there, is the prayer, tefillah. Tefillah. There are, in the full tefillah for Erev Shabbat, there are 7 blessings. That compares to 18, well, really 19 in the rest of the week, but we kind of bookend. We take the beginning and the end, and we lift out the middle, because most of those prayers in the middle are what we call petitionary prayers. And as we rest on Shabbat, we pray that God also has an opportunity to rest. And as we'll see in this week's Torah portion, the Israelites often have a lot to say to God. Not all of it is our words of praise or words of niceness, especially to Moses. But anyway, so these prayers are lifted out, which is why we start with the 3 prayers that we do, the Avot, acknowledging the role our ancestors have played in our lives and in the lives of the Jewish people. Gevurot, the way that acknowledging and praising the way God's presence has been shown to us throughout the millennia. And then finally, a Kedusha, a praise of holiness for the day and for God's presence in our lives. And after that, we'll hear a musical selection from Randy Polavoy. So if you are able to and choose to rise, you can do so at this time. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Tehilatecha, Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chaim bechesed, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורו ומידו מלך, מלך ממיד ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We'll just take a brief moment of silence and reflection, and then we will welcome Dr. Polvoy. And Eli, if you could stop sharing, please. Shabbat Shalom, Dr. Polvoy.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom to everybody in Cyber Shul. Nice to be here. I sort of feel like I'm repeating a lot of the same remarks that Cantor Paul had just mentioned in his earlier remarks, but it never hurts to hear these things twice, said in a slightly different way. So, Judaism accords Shabbat the status of a joyous holy day, and in many ways gives Shabbat the most importance as a holy day on the Jewish calendar. This day is specifically set aside to refrain from daily work routines, to rest, to refresh one's spirit, to contemplate the spiritual aspects of life, and to spend time with friends and family, of course. And we just heard the Vishamru prayer sung by Cantor Paul. I'm going to do it again in a different version. And of course, the meaning of the prayer is the need of the Jewish people to observe the Sabbath. The translation of the prayer is, the people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Observing Shabbat throughout time is a covenant forever. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God rested and was refreshed. So, Debbie Friedman's 1989 setting of the Vishamru prayer taps into this more spiritual and contemplative aspect of the prayer, and is probably very well known to most of you, as Cantor Paul and I have done it many times in the past. So this is Debbie Friedman's setting of Vishamru.
Thank you so much, Randy. Dr. Polvoy, it's always such a treat to hear you share what inspires you, and thank you again for that beautiful
My pleasure.
rendition
Shabbat
of
shalom to you
Debbie's
and your family and
genre.
to everybody else out there.
Thanks, Randy. So, as I mentioned when we started, Rabbi is not with us, so I don't plan on offering any profound teachings, certainly not of the level that he would contribute. And even if I thought about it, since I, like over 100 or more of our community, was online a little later than we had hoped last night on our our annual congregational meeting. I want to say a mazal tov to our new board members and a mazal tov to our whole community who approved some important changes to our bylaws we think will make our governance and our oversight of all of the activities of TBI from a lay leadership level more efficient. Special shout out to Janine Mann and to Jeff Pass for spearheading that effort. But I did think about what I could share, and as you may have noticed throughout this evening service, I've just kind of been dropping little tidbits in there because this is a portion that is really chock full of memorable moments. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do want to describe a couple of them. As I mentioned when we started, the lighting of the menorah outside of the Mishkan, the tent of meeting. It's also the portion where we are given a second chance, so to speak. It's something I'll talk about in just a couple of minutes. It's the part of the Torah where it mentions that there can be a Pesach Sheni. If you didn't get to observe Passover for a variety of reasons back when it was on the 15th of Nisan and the week following, well, here's how you do it and compensate for that missed opportunity. There's also the pillar of fire by night and the cloud that hovers over the tabernacle by day, and it says when the cloud lifts from the tabernacle, the people leave Sinai, setting out on their journey tribe by tribe. It's sort of the go sign. Israelites complain, something I mentioned just a few minutes ago. They don't have enough meat. Moses gets frustrated. God tells him to appoint a board of directors. How ironic is that? Council of elders, God provides then the people with meat and then strikes them with a very severe plague, so they shouldn't get too haughty. And then finally, Miriam and Aaron are caught gossiping behind the scenes about Moses' wife, who is identified as a Cushite woman, a woman from outside of the community, a ger, so to speak, someone who was brought in by Moses. Obviously, if you remember the story, when he returned from tending Jethro's flock, and because of her evil speech, her lashon hara, Miriam is stricken with a plague, and Moses has to beg God to heal her, and we'll hear those words in our Misha Beirach in just a couple of minutes. But I did want to share something that I came across. As many of you know, I would hope all of you are aware that our beloved Camp Newman, the URJ's premier camp on the West Coast, a place where Rabbi has served for, must be at least 3/4 of his life, as a camper, as a counselor, as an associate director, and most recently we both served for the last, for me, I think it'll be 10 years, for him, his entire term at TBI, just about, as faculty members. And that's something we won't be able to do this year because of the COVID restrictions and the way that the camp is managing that. But the blessing is, if you're not aware, you should be, is that through the generosity of the community, through the support of the state of California, and through an incredible amount of hard work, the camp that was burned out of its home three falls ago is returning for the first time to the Porter Creek campus northeast of Santa Rosa, California. And I'll be taking my son Benjamin up there, and Rabbi will be taking his daughter Abby up there, and our sons, my son Sam and Rabbi's son Eli, will be staff members there this year. Sammy, because of his role, is going to leave. Only about 2 weeks from now, 10 days from now, actually. I think Eli's going to go just a tiny bit later. But there was a message today from Rabbi Ellie Fishman, the camp director, about that and about the connection with this Torah portion, so I thought I would share that. And she wrote it to all the kids, and in my case, I'll say Dear Benjamin, because that's who it's written to. Dear Benjamin, the portion Behalotaka has a lot going on. The literal meaning of the numbers portion means when you raise, and is talking specifically about the lamps, the menorahs, in the traveling Mishkan, the tent of meeting. There's a graphic depiction of God's presence over the tabernacle, a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, and we learn of Pesach Sheni, a sort of make-up Passover in case you can't celebrate at the appropriate time. There's a lot of complaining, too, about the lack of meat while wandering, about being spoken to by God, and then Moses says the now famous words in the Jewish songs for healing, El na refana la, oh God, please heal her, when Miriam is struck with leprosy, or tzara'at in Hebrew. And there's so much to glean from this week, but I ultimately was struck by the idea of Pesach Sheni and the built-in do-over. I keep thinking of this summer at camp as a do-over for so many things from the last year, plus a time to build friendships panim al panim, face to face, a time to push ourselves out of our comfort zones, try new things, a time to grow and flourish when some of us feel we've been a bit stagnant, and a time to breathe in fresh air and disconnect. These are all things that we typically get to do at camp, but missed out on last year, and in some ways the previous 2 years when we were located up near the Bay Area. Now we have our Pesach Sheni, our summer 2020 Sheni. Coming back home to Porter Creek this summer feels like we are relighting and raising our lamps once again in this Mishkan of our own, making our summer tabernacle where we pray together and bask in the beautiful outdoors God has created. Hopefully we'll make it through with less kvetching than did the Israelites. Tonight, our full-time team and our summer assistant directors will celebrate their very first Shabbat back at Porter Creek. We will rekindle the Shabbos lights tonight and mark our official return home. May we all cherish each of these memories, those that are bright and full of these moments of rekindling, as well as having the opportunity for a summer Sheni together. And then sign Shabbat Shalom. See you all soon from Rabbi Ali Fishman and the Camp Newman staff. And I think this is so appropriate for us as well, because, last week we celebrated our first Shabbat in person at our beloved Temple Beth Israel. And Rabbi and I know everyone, each one of you, are so looking forward to re-engaging, to rekindling the lights that have held our community through the last 14 months of challenge and the last nearly 90 years. Do you realize we're coming up on our 90th birthday as a congregation in just over a year? And I pray, Rabbi prays, we all pray, and it was evident in the concern that our lay leadership took last night for our well-being, that we enter into this new Pesach, this new summer, this new reality of once again being able to be together while we retain our extended presence through all of the wonderful people who join us every week from outside of the local area. May we all be blessed as we enter onto this journey. Shabbat Shalom. So, Eli, we're going to move to Misha Berach. And as I mentioned, the text we'll use is the text that is found in this Torah portion, at least the version that applies to Miriam. We actually include both male and female pronouns. invite you to join me for El Na Refan Allah. And you'll know when it comes because I think you've heard this before. Mi Shaberach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yivarech El Hacholim El Narifan Allah El Narifana El Narifana Lo. Please feel free to put your names for those who are praying for healing in the chat, and I will read our congregational list. We ask for prayers of healing for Rebecca Gilman, Bela Pasternak, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Paula Steinbach, Rosalind Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Gabriel Silton, Pam Polyakov, Connie Shapiro, Kathy Blumenfeld, Gloria Austin, Caitlin Antrim, Judith Bosworth, Kathy Brewster, and Stephanie Holland. For Jennifer Rudin, Susan Brewer, Ed Ansel, Marion Schneiders, Kimberly Zimmerman, Lori Snyder, Brad Holland, Isley Holland, Mike Klein, Beatrice Cadden, Nick Silton, Henry Gerard, Kirby Perkins, Brenda Fung Gerard, Serena Postville, Bobby Kay, Marilyn Freeman, Robert Strober, Eva Bespris, Marilyn Lebarsky, Joel Kummerman, Shara Albert, Carol Sage, Flo Cohen, Ira Quatcher, Ellery Einstein, Ken Mitchell, Patricia Kramer, Joey Kubel, and Ann Hudson. May they all be healed. El Narifana, El Narifana Allah, El Narifana, El Narifana Lo. Thank you, Eli. It is now time for our congregational announcements, and to handle that auspicious task, I invite Gary Gilbert to join us.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you to Cantor Bush for leading us in tefillah this evening, and also for his wonderful teaching and that very inspiring letter from Camp Newman. Best wishes to everybody who will be attending in whatever capacity camp this summer. Thank you also to Randy Polivoy for his always inspiring music. And thank you to Eli Kupitz, Kol HaKavod, for his wonderful technical support this evening. And then thanks to all of you, all the members of our congregation, for your support of last Sunday's auction, which was a tremendous success. And also thank you very much for your participation at yesterday's, as the cantor mentioned, somewhat long, but nonetheless very productive annual meeting. Just a couple of quick announcements. First, on Wednesday, June 2nd, that is this coming Wednesday, the Adult Jewish Learning Committee hosts the first installment in a new course, Introduction to Jewish Mysticism, led by Rabbi Diane Elliott. Come learn about the rich and fascinating aspects of Kabbalah and the many other forms of Jewish mystical tradition. Next Shabbat, we celebrate the diversity within our community with our LGBTQ Shabbat. Rabbi Megan Doherty will be with us that evening to share her thoughts on being an inclusive and welcoming Jewish community. And with that, I wish you a very good Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Gary. We turn now to Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 2, as it's said in there, 282, I believe. And if you are in a place where it's possible and comfortable doing so, you may rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה. If you could scroll down the page. שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. We take a moment now to remember those who have passed from our midst in recent days, those who have left us at this season in years past. Before we read the names of those who we are particularly remembering, I do want to acknowledge the very recent death of our beloved member Chaim Rindi, whose funeral will take place on Tuesday. There is a congregational notification with further information present. We remember on this Shabbat the recent passings of Sheldon Dahlberg, uncle of Jay Eisenberg, of Garrett Talve Hill, son of Arava Talve and Tom Hill, and of David Tobias, husband of Virginia Tobias. We also mark the yahrzeits of the following: James Bannister, Dwayne Clodfelter, Samuel Harris, Margie Horowitz, Charlene Schifris, Daniel Friedman, Arthur Goldstein, Jack Walter Gottlieb, Rose Bialis Gottlieb, Ann Lipman, Benjamin Marcus, Irene Nedich, Glenn David Smilkstein, Martin Pollock, Beatrice Silverstein, Molly Beasy, Sarah Brown, Jacob Dobrowski, Shoshi Galin, Loretta B. Lindenbaum, Yaron Zamir, Reginald H. Crawford, Leo Fried, Edward Kahn, Miriam Nedich, Bernice Salzberg, Gertrude Bergen, Corky Elhai, Frank Flowers, Andre Greenspun, Frank Height, Rabbi Jacob Krinsky, Morris Lerner, Olivia Loyola, Daniel Oliver, Frank Rosenbaum, and Henry Schimmel. If you are observing a yahrzeit or have suffered a recent loss in your life, I invite you to hold those individuals in your heart as we as a community offer words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'l'olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who brings peace in the high heavens bring peace to all those who mourn and to all of us. And let us say together, amen. So we will close tonight's service just before we join for Kiddush and Amotzi with the words of Beyado, the last paragraph of Adon Olam. Thank you. And I just want to give another Yasher Koach and a Todah Rabbah to Eli Kupitz for standing in for Dad and for doing an excellent job. Thank you so much, Eli. So I know we may be out of the habit, and it might be a little awkward if you're alone. Maybe a little easier if you're with somebody, but you can hold out an arm, even to the screen, and know that there are many of us on all sorts of media platforms who are there, reaching right back out to you as we sing Beyado. Beyado of Kidruchi, Be'edi Shan ve'ha'ira, Be'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Beyado of Kidduchi, Be'edi Shan ve'ha'ira, Ve'imruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, Adonai li ve'lo ira. Little Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho u'avav ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikraye kodesh, zechar letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu vacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ava uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, V'kadesh Yisrael v'Shabbat. L'chaim. So reach out those virtual hands again, if you wouldn't mind, and help me say Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have a peaceful and restful Shabbat. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7:30 for Havdalah. I also want to just take a moment to acknowledge before we say goodnight and thank all of the veterans in our community for their service and remember those who have fallen. I regret that I didn't mention them before our Kaddish prayer, but certainly all those who served and all those who lost their lives in service for our country are in our hearts this weekend as we observe Memorial Day. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow night.